Shit from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down some news and rumors that happened over the weekend, and I literally just got off my flight and landed, and I was like, oh crap, Tanner Muse has been officially cut. So the reason why this is kind of a surprising move for a lot of people is because Muse, according to all reports, the entire offseason, entire training camp, he actually had a chance to start in 4-3 base. Now, I think this also goes back to you can't always believe everything a coach tells you during the offseason. But the fact that he was released on Monday, that alone is surprising news. The fact that he was released on his birthday is a whole nother level. So, I don't know who the hell's running the Raiders social media team. We'll get to that in just a second. But he's never played a regular season snap for the Raiders after being a top 100 pick. In fact, the Las Vegas Raiders traded up for Muse out of Clemson. He played safety there. We had him as a round 5 grade here at Chat Sports. They took him in the 3rd round. Now, maybe he could end up back on the practice squad. It does sound like that's the Raiders' ultimate goal, is try to figure out how to get Muse, who may never turn out to be a good defensive player, but was always a good special teams guy, at least for this team. That's why he gave him the nickname War Daddy. But as it stands right now, here's the Raiders' linebacking depth chart. Javen White, Nicholas Morrow on IR. And probably one of the things that not many people are talking about, because, a lot of times they focus on the negative and getting rid of a 3rd-round pick who's literally never played for you. The last time he has stepped foot on a regular season game, you got to go all the way back to college, 20 months ago with the Clemson Tigers. But I actually think this also kind of goes ahead and say, hey, Javen White was a better fit in this defense, a better sideline-to-sideline guy, and if they're going to go ahead and take a project, then I think they would rather take that project on White or the guy that they just drafted in the 3rd round this year, Divine Diablo, because if you remember, it's basically the exact same thing. Muse, safety, converted linebacker. I actually think as soon as they made the move to go out and get Diablo from Virginia Tech, who was a safety, and the Raiders are going to try to convert him to a linebacker, that is why Tanner Muse is kind of on the outside looking in, and it especially doesn't help when you trade for Denzel Perriman and then you go out and get KJ Wright. I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall, y'all. So go down in the comments section right now. It's what we do here at the Raiders Report. If you haven't hit that sub button yet, make sure you do. I don't want you guys to miss anything. I don't care what time of the day it is. I don't care where I'm happening. If I get news and I'm literally sitting on a tarmac in Dallas, our team here at Chat Sports is better than anyone. We're going to give you guys the news. So what's your one-word reaction to the Raiders cutting Tanner Muse? Let me know down in the comments. My one-word reaction is project. And when Mike Mayock was signed to be the GM here of the Las Vegas Raiders, or I guess I should say hired, he was a project himself. And one of the things that he always predicated himself on was being able to find talent in other places that maybe some people couldn't. Well, now you're sitting here looking at another project that Mike Mayock, that Jon Gruden tried to do in the draft. And when you consider yourself a draft expert, like a lot of people consider Mayock, you need to start hitting on a lot more picks here. So just the day 2 picks over the last 2 years. Lynn Bowden Jr., you selected him 80 overall. Then you just trade him away to Miami. Now, do I think that might have been a good situation that he never played for the Raiders? Sure. I never would have drafted him that high anyway, but you still invested a 3rd-round pick. He never played a snap for you. Bryan Edwards, we love the talent. It's there. He is a phenomenal athlete, but he needs to be able to stay healthy, and he is still a question mark as far as I'm concerned. And then Tanner Muse, another guy who might never play a regular season snap for the Raiders. I mean, you can't go 1 for 3 on 3rd-round picks. This isn't baseball, y'all. You have to at least get some production on the field. And Mayock so far has done these little projects, and they haven't worked out that well. Now, one of the awesome show sponsors we got on today's deal is Magic Spoon. And if you guys haven't already got this cereal, go to magicspoon.com/Raiders. I was at a wedding the entire week, so, there's a lot of birthday cake there. And I was like, is somebody going to break out this Magic Spoon cereal? Because the amount of calories that I have put in my face is just way too many. Luckily for you, if you still want to be able to eat healthy, if you still want to be able to have that cereal that you crave and you get the high protein, look at that. 13 grams to 14 grams of protein per bowl. Low carbs as well. I recommend the peanut butter and cocoa. I think it's a great combination. You can get a 4-pack. If you're gluten-free, hey, there's an option there. If you want no GMOs, I'm telling you, keto friendly, it goes on and on and on. So it's not only just good tasting cereal, it's also healthy for you. I mean, 0 grams of sugar. If you get 2 seconds today, if you get 3 seconds today, go down in the comments, look at the link below. It's magicspoon.com/Raiders. And if you also get time, look to see how unhealthy the cereal is in your cabinet, and then compare it to 4 grams of net carbs, 14 grams of protein. You're going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe I put that stuff in my body. Yeah, I'm serious. Go ahead, get some love from Magic Spoon. So again, Tanner Muse was released here by the Las Vegas Raiders, and I was like, oh man, we got to go through all the implications here of how this could potentially impact the team. So during training camp, during the preseason, Muse was actually starting as a 4-3 linebacker. Now, sure, that was with Corey Littleton, that was with Nicholas Morrow, and then Muse, and then in more of these base the nickel packages, if you will, where the Raiders throw out 4 linebackers. That's when he was a guy that wasn't going to end up getting a lot of playing time. But the Raiders at least gave Tanner a chance. Like, I think that they at least gave him a chance. Was it a fair chance in 2020? No. I mean, let's face it. COVID happened. You don't have a lot of time to practice. You don't have a lot of time to be around your teammates. So asking somebody alone to play in a COVID year, that's difficult as a rookie. To have somebody switch positions, that's even more difficult as a rookie. Then he ended up getting hurt, and now this season, though, I really do believe that the Raiders gave him an adequate chance. They gave him a shot to make it on this roster, and I get if you drafted somebody, but for him to be let go here by this team, I think just kind of shows how far behind he was in the developmental process of being able to be a linebacker in the National Football League, because now for the first time in a long time, this team actually has some halfway decent depth. Now, the question I'm going to ask you all here is, what's your confidence level in Mike Mayock? Because at the end of the day, it's him and Gruden. They're making some of these calls. They're going to be the ones that go ahead and either trade up for a player. And if you're going to trade up for some guy, you have to have a lot of confidence in him. I mean, let's just face it. If you're going to trade up to the 3rd round to pick 100, if there's a guy on your board, you're like, oh, he's not going to fall to us. You better be pretty damn confident. And then when it misses, it looks even worse. So scale from 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident in Mayock at all, 10 being you are pretty confident in him. I'm going to sit here and I am going to go with a 5 on the scale, and realistically, I could even go lower. The free agency moves, they haven't worked, but I think that's a little bit more on Gruden. Sure, Mayock obviously gives his 2 cents on that as well, but I'm looking at the draft. Now, sure, you were able to find somebody, a diamond in the rough in Max Crosby. It looks like Nate Hobbs is going to be another player that was very well picked out. But Damon Arnett has been a fail thus far. I'm hoping Henry Ruggs can step up. Lynn Bowden Jr., Tanner Muse, Amik Robertson hasn't been all that great. You're still waiting to see what John Simpson can do. It's just you're going back and you're saying, okay, we're missing early on in the draft. Sure, once in a while if you can find a Crosby and Hobbs, that's great. But you need to be able to find those guys late in drafts, and then also the picks that you have early on, they need to hit as well. And so far, under Mayock, under Jon Gruden, a lot of those early picks, let's just put it simple, haven't hit. Now, I don't know who is the new person running the Raiders social media, but this has kind of been something over the last 2 to 3 weeks that I personally have talked about on the show, where I don't know who's doing it. And I don't like to be the guy that's like, well, this person should lose their job, because I never want to say that. But how can you cut a player and then a few minutes later give him a happy birthday shout out? Now, sure, I get you probably scheduled it out in advance. You probably weren't thinking about it. But if you see that their news gets cut, the bell should go off in your head like, oh, wait a minute. We need to fix some stuff. And the fact that you weren't able to do it, it just looks even worse from an organizational standpoint, because nobody's really going to just say, oh, it's a social media person. They're going to blame it on the Raiders. So, like, that's the kind of shit that I didn't really like. So whoever's running the social media in the Raiders, dude, you got to get it together. All right, y'all. So if you love the shirt that I'm wearing right now, I got it from BlackSundayShop.com. Now, I'm not as buff as this guy over here, but I will say this. These are probably the coolest shirts that you're going to be able to find on the market around the Raiders. Most of them are under $30. Plus, if you like to collect things, they release all these different kinds of collectibles. They release all these different kinds of really high-quality boxes as well that they'll come in so you can keep them. They can be fresh. But, like, the amount of DMs I'll get, or, like, the amount of, like, dude, where'd you get that Marcus Allen t-shirt? Chances are a lot of people are like, oh, I really like that shirt. it's from Black Sunday Shop. Now, if you guys want to also get some free Raiders accessories, if you use code Mitch at checkout, they're also going to hook you up with some extra stuff. So bottom line, it's not just this shirt. I mean, once you go to blacksundayshop.com, which again is in the comments and it'll be in the description, you'll see all their freaking dope-ass t-shirts. And I'm telling you, like, these are really badass. So go ahead, check them out. I promise you're going to love them. Now, over the weekend, again, I was at a wedding, so I was kind of out of the whole loop. And literally right when I was sitting on the tarmac, and shout out to Frontier for making me wait in 95-degree weather, no air, mask on my face for 90 minutes in the Dallas, Texas heat. But then the Raiders signed David Moore, and then two things that I realized. One, Wi-Fi on a plane is shit garbage. Like, you can't even use it. I thought about going live, and I'm like, oh my Lord, I'm not going to be able, nobody's going to be able to hear me anything. It's going to be like one of those commercials where the guy from the Yankees calls up Giancarlo Stanton, and he thinks he's got to go hit home runs in a Little League field. Like, that's what it would have sounded like. So I wasn't able to do it. But David Moore was added to the Las Vegas Raiders practice squad, and this is actually a move that I do personally like. So John Brown, he asked to be released. One of the things that I liked about Moore on his time with the Seattle Seahawks was he was a pretty good wide receiver 3. Now, some of you are like, oh, wide receiver 3. I mean, he had no chance to be above DK Metcalf. He had no chance of being above Tyler Lockett. But I will say, if you were to tell me, like, who has more overall talent, Willie Snead or David Moore, I would actually say David Moore. So the fact that he's going to be able to step in and give us more depth here, now, sure, he's still only on the practice squad, but it is a move that I did personally really like. Now, if you guys haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the Las Vegas Raiders Report. It's youtube.com/Raiders Report. I'm going to be live tomorrow on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. I know I wasn't live last week, but it's simply because we had so much stuff going on, and I was like, well, I'd rather be able to give you guys 4 videos on breaking news than 1 live show. If you want to hate it on me for that, it's all good. But I promise you, news, rumors, we keep you updated. Going to be doing a lot of segments as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys schedule your date to go visit Tailgate Social this upcoming weekend. I'm going to be there Saturday, Sunday, doing a live watch party Monday. It's going to be a hell of a time, and hopefully you guys are joining in. Another move that the Raiders made over the weekend, they added Markell Lee, who some of you are like, really, Markell Lee? Now, I get that I'm probably giving you this, a day or two late, but I actually like the move of Lee. He was a player that another guy who worked his freaking tail off, wasn't quite as talented, didn't quite get everything that Nicholas Morrow got, also had some injuries flare up on him, especially his knees, but the fact that they added him to the practice squad, you're seeing another player who knows the system, who's going to be able to come in and at least just be an extra body at practice. Do I want him ever on the field in a regular season game? No, I don't, because if that happens, that means a lot of other guys ended up going down. But he was on the team from 2017 to 2019. He was always a very good locker room guy. A lot of the younger players also really got along with him. So if you're looking for a glue dude, this is kind of what you're getting here on Markell Lee and the practice team. So we'll end up seeing ultimately if he ever does get called up. I personally don't think it's going to happen. And if it does happen, it means some of our other better players went down. That's all the news. That's all the rumors I have for you guys. Markell Lee, David Moore. If you want to ask me about those players, you can always hit me up on IG if you want more information on what happened with Tanner Muse. Seriously, please, don't be afraid. Let me know how y'all are feeling down in the comments.